Ah, hello. Good to see you guys. Another week, another episode. Wow. Flatline, just wow. The role switching between Clara and 12, and again, 12 gets another reality check. You know, James Mathieson as a writer, new writer to Doctor Who, he really nailed it. He's been nailing it for the last two episodes. Really great writer, really. There was so much in the episode, so much humor, so much reality, Flatline, and Moffat was right in the introduction video, which some of you may have seen. He does have a very ingenious way of, understanding dimensions and how they work. Now, this episode wasn't the typical Doctor Who episode at all. It was very well done. The only thing typical about it was that, the monster, which we didn't really get to hear about in more detail, but I don't think that's the point anyway. Seems to be a point that I keep making throughout all my reviews so far, throughout this entire series. The monsters aren't the point. They're just the sideline. It's about Clara and the Doctor. It's very personal. I like it. And it's going to build up to a great big climax. I just know it. And every one of you would know it too as well. It's really great. There's, obviously Danny would be feeling a little pissed that Clara's lying to him again, but, she's made a choice. And 12 got some really big shocks in this episode. I mean, wow. He really did. I'm going to go into more of that into detail into the review, so let's go. Let's go, and let's move beyond two dimensions into the third dimension, possibly the fifth. Wow. Hang on, I should probably do that in order. Possibly the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. Okay, let's go. Right, so in the beginning of the episode, we come to, the TARDIS, really. It starts off in the TARDIS, and then, while the Doctor's having a chat, and, to Clara about going home, and, he's reading the very issue, and, perfect beginning, perfect bit of comedy beginning. Yeah, just really killed it. I mean, you've got that happening, and then the Doctor realizes something was wrong, and then you're thrust into the story. I mean, the only problem I had with Flatline overall, I'll just state it right here and now, so that I can get on to the good stuff, is that I would have wished that it was a little bit more of a mystery story in terms of one person was murdered, and we, and there was a bit more of an investigation going on. But, that's fine. That wasn't the point either. I realise that now. It was just a really, let's just get to it. Okay, so, and then you see someone get murdered by the Flatline creatures. And yeah, so then people start going missing, and then the murals. And then then you find the group, the side character group that carries on throughout the entire episode. You've got a typical, I shouldn't say typical. You've got a old man who's a bit nasty and a bit, let's just say very racist. You've got a few so-called delinquents working in, well, community service. And then they're basically cleaning up painting and graffiti and, cleaning up the neighbourhood when all this begins. And Clara's just thrust in the middle of it. Now, when the when the TARDIS shrinks again, oh my god, the look on the Doctor's face was just priceless. And again, having to give up his role as the Doctor, I love that little swipe that Clara took to him. I just like to sound self-important, and she really took the mickey out of him in this episode. I love it, and he had it coming again. But from a broader perspective, it was good that we got to see again what the Doctor was like, not just from Clara's perspective, but Clara was being put in the Doctor's shoes right there and there. So we got to see it again, but from a new perspective. Now, on that theory, I think, a female Doctor could possibly happen. I mean, did anybody else like Clara playing the Doctor role? I did. It was really, Jenna just nailed it. She really did. And, dealing with several of the same issues, like she really rivaled 12 in so many ways. It was just unbelievable. And when she got trapped inside the house where the guy got murdered originally, and then Danny called. Okay, some people had a gripe about this. Why would you even in that sort of situation? Why would you even bother going for your phone? But that's the brave bit about Doctor Who. You can do that. You can have a bit of black comedy going on there, because and you can get away with it. Why not? So yeah, and clearly, obviously, Danny would know that she was lying to him. So yeah, but he just goes along with it, and eventually, from what I've heard, spoilers. So please do not listen to the rest of this video if you don't want to hear this. But Danny is going to hang on. Pause it for a second. Okay, good. Danny is going to lose it completely, and the gloves are going to come off for Danny. The rails. He's going to lose it, and the ice is going to break between him and Clara. So I'm curious to see how that ends up, but we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. But no, and then you've got her taking the leadership role, Clara taking the leadership role in terms of when they get trapped. And, she does it really well. She does it to a T like the Doctor does. And she faces a lot of the same issues the Doctor would. It's really, like, say, for example, what would you do in that situation to keep them going? You give them hope. You lie to them. And, in some ways, that's actually true. To some extent, you do that with children, so that they aren't scared, or it's a moral dilemma nonetheless. And she clashes with these moral dilemmas really, really well. And from a character perspective, the Doctor gets another wake-up call. It's a really big wake-up call, because previous to that, I don't think he had any idea what he really sounded like. As you do, I mean, you talk to some of you on and off may sometimes hear yourself and go, really, do I sound like that? Do I really sound like that? That's ridiculous. On a reflective way, you just don't. You don't really hear yourself, do you? So I think that's a great way to sort of bridge that between Clara and the Doctor. Not only that, but again, in another review which I read yesterday, and the person who wrote that review had a lot of really good points that I really agree with. The Doctor had Well, I keep saying he had a wake-up call, yeah, but he had a moment of, what would be the word? Realization, to either loosen up or, just be aware of what he's doing. And Clara also, in her own way, showed that she wasn't like the Doctor, even though she behaved like him, nearly to a T. There were ways in which she wasn't like the Doctor. Chiding the guy for trying to kill himself by, ramming the train into the Flatline creatures. She just pretty much just said, no, there's no point in that. So she really made a very clear line that there's just no point. And again, with what this guy said, check it out, it's on doctorwhotv.com. With what this guy said, she really did ram home that the Doctor really romanticizes death and that he's lonely and that, he has to make these hard decisions. And she just really just cuts through all that excuses and pretty much that ego, really. She cuts through his ego and just says, no, you don't need to do that. So hop off the train with me, come on. There's no need for sacrifice. Which is what the Doctor also romanticizes. And, it's just a really good point. Really good point for all of us to just step back and go, oh yeah, he kind of does. But yeah, no, it's just, the whole episode was just really good. And, again, having hope that, that the Flatline creatures weren't going to be nasty was turned on the flip side. And that nasty character, in the form of the old man, who was a bit callous and a bit cold and a bit, generally racist, survived. Normally characters like that die. So it was a play on that too. It was a bit more realistic. But yeah, it was just a really great episode in so many levels. And I could go on about it in so many different ways. But the point of it is, Flatline really nailed it, not just on a character perspective or on a conceptual perspective, but just as a whole. I think it was just a really great episode, and I'd give it a 5 star. I'd even give it a 6 star out of 5. 5 stars. I wouldn't care. I'd just add an extra, star on there. It just wouldn't happen. It's just going to be up there. But, and Missy's, what she said at the end of that episode, here's my theory on that, just before I close this review and video. What if she's the Valiant? Now, the reason for that is because if you watch the classic series, again, you'll have heard the Master during the Sixth Doctor's run say that the Valiant appeared between the Doctor's 12th and 13th incarnations. In case you haven't noticed, a bit late for that now, so Moffat would need to, slot the Valiant in at some point. Unless he just changes it completely, which writers can do in the show. But I think it's a bit overdue, and if he's going to do it, he should do it now. And the reason why I think that is because if you think about how these little hints, you've got a different dimension. That's another plot hint for the whole series. Writers tend to leave little plot devices. If they're writing a series, they tend to leave little plot devices that are key to each story, but they also link up throughout the entire major plot line of the series or whatever. Now, if you look at that, okay, you've got different dimensions. Yes, clearly it states where, Missy is. She's in a different dimension. You've got the undead so far. Unleashing Life, which is the last episode before Flatline. I think Kill the Moon was a filler, so I don't think you can leave that out. But Time Heist, that was another clue, I reckon. A prison of some sort. A bank prison. Go with me on that one. But she can't be Clara because we've just found that out. There's only a handful of people in the whole universe that know the Doctor's number. Him, River, I think Tasha Lem might know it, and some of his companions. But really, are any of them Missy? No, they're not. And Missy is clearly far older. It would be very, very weird if it didn't turn out to be either the Doctor or someone that we've been suspecting for a long time to come back. Very, 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 very weird. And as we know, the Valiant is the Doctor, just a schismed version. So maybe the Valiant is a female Doctor stuck in a different universe, but is really in charge of it. So I'll leave that one with you. And see you next week, guys. It's shaping up to be a great series. I love it. I'm certainly going to buy the DVD. Oh my god, the DVD series. Alright, see you later, guys. Geronimo!